Alright, now we come to the Ice Cavern. This is probably the hardest part of Disc 1. So get ready to do a lot of resetting when you come to here. What makes this place hard is that, one, you have to get all the treasures without getting any random encounters, which can be quite difficult for some of them because you have to go quite a ways to get a treasure and then exit the screen. But then also you have to make sure to avoid getting encounters from the wind. If you cross any wind stream when it's in full blast, you will immediately get thrown into an encounter with wires. And so you have to make sure to not touch the wind streams when they're blowing. However, you do have about a second or so window between when it first starts blowing and when it'll actually throw you into an encounter. So if there's just a small wisp of smoke, you can still get through without an encounter. As I show here. This also applies to the very end of the wind stream. And so I go through here just before it ends. And it's still fine, because it's only when it's at full blast that it throws you into an encounter. The screen that I'm on now is the one where most of the resets will occur. Not on the part where I'm on now, but the part before it, where I was getting the potion on the left. And you'll notice that several times I exit a screen and come back to it. This is purely to reset the encounter rate, to make it less likely to get an encounter. This is something that you absolutely have to do here to avoid getting encounters. And then you'll notice that I was able to sneak by that wind stream even while it was going full blast. If you can position yourself just right on the log, you can then press up to go across the rest of the log and then onto the little platform and sneak by that wind so you don't get into an encounter. I've never been able to do it on the way back, though. And this wind stream that I just stopped at here is a very tricky one, too. It's easy to miss it, to miss seeing it, at least for me. So you have to be really careful that you don't hit that one, or else it'll ruin an otherwise great run. Now there's one more chest on that screen that I'm not getting yet. That's because it's difficult to get to that chest and back without an encounter. And I don't want to ruin what the great thing I already have here with getting to here with no encounters. So I'm going to go ahead and save now. And then I'll pick up that chest later. Don't forget to pick up the magnet letter before you save. Now, the Excalibur 2 Perfect Game Guide tells you at this point to go back and pick up that chest that I skipped, so you can get a leather wrist. But it's faster if I can leave that for after the sea lion fight. This is the whole reason why I stole the leather wrist from Prison Cage earlier. Because with the leather wrist, Zidane gets 1 extra spirit point, which means that his trance will last for 3 turns instead of 2. This way I can avoid the detrancing animation at the end of the fight and save some seconds. And you'll also notice that before I exited that room with the Moogle, I switched armors for Zidane and Bibi. Zidane gets the leather shirt here, because even though it's technically weaker than the silk shirt, it actually makes it more likely for Zidane to survive this fight. That's because the silk shirt is weak against fire. So if Sea Lion is casting Blizzard and Black Waltz 1 is casting fire, you're dead if you're wearing the silk shirt. So the leather shirt here helps you to have a better survival rate. And then as long as I'm changing Zidane's armor, I go ahead and change Vivi's as well, because he's going to need the silk shirt for the upcoming fight against Black Waltz 3. So now we have the fight that I've been preparing Zidane's trance gauge for, against Black Waltz 1 and Sea Lion. You really need trance to survive this fight at level 1, because if you don't have it, then you'll be subject to Sea Lion's counters, which are a Blazar spell and a Tsunami, which do tremendous damage, so much that you can't really survive at level 1. So the first stage of this fight has you take out Black Waltz 1. You have to kill him first, because if you attack Sea Lion while Black Waltz 1 is alive, then Black Waltz 1 will just heal Sea Lion, which gets you nowhere. And with the low HP as Zidane has, you have to use a potion every other turn to survive. So you alternate between attacking Black Waltz 1 and using a potion until Black Waltz 1 is dead. Now that he's dead, I can focus on Sea Lion. Now, if you look at Zidane's trance gauge here, it's pretty close to trance, but I decided it's not quite close enough that I can trance in 2 turns. So I decided to take a bit of a risk and make a steal attempt before using my next potion. And that paid off pretty well, because I managed to get the Ether Steal. And I'm still a couple hits away from trance. And now I get the important steal, which is the Mithril Dagger. That's going to help a lot in the upcoming Black Waltz fights. But now Zidane finally trances, and you can finish this fight with a regular attack and a dive. There is a 1 in 9 chance that Zidane won't do enough damage to Sea Lion with an attack and a die, but there's nothing you can do about that. So if it happens, it's really unfortunate. It actually happened to me in one of my attempts here. If Zidane does minimum damage both times, then Sea Lion will be left with 7 HP, and it'll kill you with its Tsunami counter. So if that happens, you just gotta curse the RNG and try again. Fight over, go back and save again. Now, this segment ended up being just a little bit slower than in my previous run, just because the sea lion used Blizzard more this time around than he did last time, but I'm okay with that.